What's up, everybody? Another edition of Geek Sci-Fi. We are here live doing our thing. Hopefully everyone has had a great Easter weekend. Lived your best life, ate as much food as you could fit in that belly of yours. Saw your family, got to spend time with family. I can't even think of all the other things. What else do people do? We got this crazy
hunt for eggs.
Yes. Yo, I gotta say, you're getting older when you start seeing so many of your friends posting videos of kids or nephews and nieces running around looking for the eggs. Yeah, the egg hunt.
Or painting eggs. I saw a lot of that, painting eggs.
Okay, yeah. No, I wish I'd see more painting of eggs, because I find that interesting, actually, the egg painting. But no, for me, it was all just egg hunts. Like, everyone and their cousin was doing an egg hunt, and I was just like, oh, okay, we're on that.
Was that a big thing for you guys?
No, not when I was a kid. That's why I thought it was very interesting.
It was eating. It was like finding the candy was the big deal. We didn't really do a lot of painting eggs and stuff. I think I like the memes. The Easter memes are pretty good.
I didn't see a lot of Easter memes. Like what? What did you see this year?
So you know the one where there's a guy standing over somebody's grave, and he's like peace, and so people usually put like something on the headstone, and then this other person.
Okay.
So in this context, on the headstone, it says Jesus, and then the guy standing over the grave piecing is Jesus.
Huh.
Interesting.
Never heard that.
No,
I
haven't seen that one.
I think I should find it, but it's just basically, it's just like I don't know, like it'll say on the headstone, the DC movie universe.
Okay.
And then it'll be like the Flash, and then over it will be like season 2 of Loki. Piece like
Oh, you're the meme of Grant. Whoa, what was that? Who was that?
Which meme?
The meme of Grant by the gravestone. Is that the one you're referring to?
I think so. Meme of Grant
Grant
by the gravestone.
Yeah, Grant from the Flash.
Let's try. Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah. That's Grant Gustin. Is that his name?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, I respect that.
No, I remember when I was a kid, it was like it was just here's chocolate.
Right? Yeah.
It was like really not even, mind you, I guess my house was in a good hiding spot, and when we were kids, it was like always snowy. So it's not like my parents were going to be like, go outside.
It was a lot of snow in Easter?
Well, I mean, when we were kids, I think it snowed. Well, it's my memory. I mean, this is like 30 years ago. Like when I'm taking one time and probably extrapolating over the whole thing. But Easter.
I found
celebrate
on my desk. That's how I
celebrate Easter, but I find like the Easter bunny and stuff. I've always thought it was lame.
Well, do you guys... So first of all, and I think I said this last year or 2 years ago, Easter is actually named for a goddess Ishtar, who was like some old goddess that they co-opted her story. And, the fact that the two images for Easter are the bunny rabbit and the egg are because those were her imagery as a goddess of fertility and had nothing to do with Easter or the birth of Christ. It's really just that the Romans, when they needed to, try and convert everyone to Christianity, they just took over all these pagan holidays and just slapped their stuff on top of it. And it was just like, Ishtar, fertility, spring season, Jesus is reborn. This is your rebirth. This is your the world is born anew. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Can you imagine imagine you're a pagan and you've been celebrating Ishtar for some 30, 40 years in your life that only lasts 50 years. So you're nearing the end already in this unfortunate world you live in. And you're just like, goddess of fertility. He's been holding it down for me 40 years. Mama, Papa, always celebrating every spring. We sacrifice something to Ishtar and the crops come back. And then all of a sudden these Romans come in. They're just like, by the way, Ishtar's a fake. Jesus is the new way. Get in or get out. And you're just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's cornrows versus boxer braids.
You never seen,
Exactly what that is.
You never seen American Gods?
I've read American Gods. I've read
the first season.
Yeah.
They're at her estate.
Yes, they are.
And there's just a bunch of Jesuses walking around. But the reason there's a bunch of because you have Korean Jesus, you have Hispanic Jesus, you have Black Jesus, just a bunch of Jesuses walking around saying Happy Easter to her, and she's like, "Oh, thank you, come into my party, hi," and not Zeus, what's his name again? Odin's there, and he's like, they stealing your shit, you know that, right? Let them know who you are, girl. You're one of the old gods. Let them know. And she's like,
yeah, because she does that whole thing.
Scene.
The end of the first season, right, where she does that whole spring thing out into the field at her own party.
Yeah, it's a good scene.
That was a great scene, and unfortunately, I don't feel like they picked up from that in season 2. In season 2, they kind of just jump ahead from that.
Yeah, they do,
and they don't even reference the fact that she did that, which was super unfortunate because, in my opinion, her as a character was super interesting. She's played by who's that petite actress from Broadway?
I know who you're talking about. I forgot her name.
I have
She's
to
like
look her
everywhere all the time.
Yes, Chenoweth,
Chenoweth,
Chenoweth. Yes, that's her name, Chenoweth. Yeah, that's unfortunate, man, because that was a good show too, American Gods season 1, but they made and one of the things that I think is really sad, from my understanding, is she what's his name? Neil Gaiman was not involved with it. Or at least not as involved as he would have liked to have been.
Okay.
Which I thought was unfortunate. And I think that's where they may have made a mistake.
It's only 2 seasons, right?
I think they even got to a 3rd.
And that's where it ended, probably.
Yeah, likely.
I don't think it got into a 4th.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I'd have to look. Sorry, Dave, you're muted. You and Skinny are muted right now.
Sorry. I just said I didn't. I never saw it, so I was silent.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was playing the silent game anyway.
Yeah, I guess there's not much to add when you haven't seen it.
It's like.
Speaking of rebirth and death, we have an unfortunate passing. Canadian icon, Joe Flaherty.
Maniac Mansion, baby.
Maniac Mansion. That was the first thing. When I heard he passed, I was just like, Kathleen Robertson's dad on Maniac Mansion.
Yep. Everyone's like, yeah, SCTV, obviously. But
yes,
he's
for us, our heads, it's Maniac Mansion.
Though.
Yeah, whole time.
Yeah. Jaws,
and also, you will not make this putt.
Yeah.
He's actually American, though. He's born in...
Hold on, guys. I can't even hear Jaws. And he keeps trying to say he's also
He's born in America. He's born in Pittsburgh. He's actually American.
Didn't he grow up here?
I don't know. Like, I do know that I was reading another article that said, like, one of his classmates said he was an honorary Canadian. So
he was on SCTV this whole time and wasn't even born here?
He started like a Canadian branded, like the troop that he was in the States, he came here and started the Canadian branch. And because of that, you literally have like Kids in the Hall and all that stemmed from it. Like there would be none of that if it wasn't for him. So he's our comedy godfather.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So American this whole time. But he lived in Canada, it seems, most of his life.
Yeah, pretty much.
Even passed away here.
He's Canadian.
Yeah. He's Canadian. He had Canadian citizenship. He was on SCTV. He was on Canadian shows and passed away in Canada. Guess what? You Canadian. If it walks like and quacks like, it's one of us.
Lester from Ottawa. Then we don't know.
Who's Lester from Ottawa?
I said unless they're from Ottawa.
Oh,
this echo's fucking my shit up, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want to address it in the room, but it's the elephant that is there.
Yeah, I'm sounding like Lester out here. Well, otherwise, we good.
My echo thing is on, off, all over the place. I keep it
on,
off, and
like that.
Yeah, I've never changed my settings, so that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, same.
So you guys are saying right now you're hearing who echo?
Jaws sounds like God. Like literally, when it's not just that you're echoing, you sound like you're above us.
Dave
But like in the
sounds fine
coolest
now.
way.
Dave
Yeah.
sounds. You
Skinny
guys
sounds
all sound
fine.
fine to me. That's why. That's
Wait.
why I'm like.
And
Wendell, are you
I
good
think
now?
I'm sounding fine now.
Yeah.
Oh, now you are.
Ah,
I don't know-
Janessa.
Ah, it fixed.
I don't know what happened, but
So everyone
like,
sounds fine now.
yeah.
No.
What's
Yes.
funny though is that when you guys were talking about like the God show, you guys sounded like
Yeah, it's like an effect.
So it's
Like, I'll
like it's
kick
not a
that in.
bad thing. I'm
No, it's
not
cool.
steering away from it.
I don't
it
think
works.
it's
Days-
gonna sound like that on the recording though, because I didn't
I
hear
hope
any of
not.
that.
What day is it today? It's my day. That's what he did. That's what he does in the book, and he's like, "What day is it today? It's Wednesday. Ooh, it's my day."
Yeah. You guys need to watch American Gods, or even read the book. Honestly,
Read the-
read the book. The book
Read
is
the book
fantastic.
and Anansi Boys. Anansi Boys. The sequel.
Yes, yo, Nancy Boys is fantastic. If you don't read the book for Anansi Boys, which I really do think you should, the BBC audio play of Anansi Boys is fantastic. The voice cast on that is excellent. They all do a ridiculous good job on it. The story is really, really good. And Anansi as a spider god in like African lore is so important, and just listening to that audio play come to life really, because like even when I was a kid, my parents would tell me stories about Anansi. Do you guys know the Skinny's face? What?
Yeah, I'm like, wait, what? Okay.
Do you guys
Easy
know
there, T'Challa. Shit.
but do you guys know the story of Anansi, the Anansi story with the plantain?
No.
No, not that one. No.
Anansi's with his family, and everyone's at the table, and Anansi it's him, his wife, and the 3 kids, I think. And everyone has a piece of plantain, and he doesn't have any. So, but he's providing for the family, so it's obviously more important. The family has to eat, and then the family starts to feel bad that he doesn't have anything, so they each give him half. But if the other 4 people give you half, you end up with 2.
Yep.
And they all have half.
They're sneaking in math. They're sneaking in math here.
Yeah.
Stop
So
that.
I just remember that story when I was a kid, because I always thought the idea of the story was the more you give, the more you receive. But when I heard it as a kid, I thought, oh, that's sneaky. Being good gets you more stuff like that. Like my child mind was just like, okay, so he had none, and he looked sad because he gave up to make sure everybody had some, and then they all gave him half, and then he had more than everybody. And I
Yeah,
was just like,
yeah.
all
Teach
right,
him
okay.
compassion, then you get your shit back. That makes
I
sense.
just spilled water all over myself.
Teach your children compassion, and that way you'll always have snacks. I dig it.
Said from a true father himself, right here,
Oh,
folks.
yeah. No, I don't get things back. No, my food gets
Nope.
taken.
Yeah.
You know that Homer scene where he's trying to eat the chip and the dogs just be like, he's like and he's like, this time, no, that's my
You're comparing your daughters to 25
Nah, man.
greyhounds.
You can't have cookies around them. I'm not playing.
Look at Dave. Dave, you knew exactly what he meant.
Wasn't that a clip on Instagram? I think a reel or something where it's like the dad he looks at his wife. He's like, go, and he's like, hey kids, you want to go do something over here, huh? And then the mom goes into like the broom closet or something, starts eating like a chocolate bar.
Yeah,
Can't
I
eat it
can see
around the
that.
kids.
there's
Can't eat it around the kids. They're all like, yo, mom's got some chocolate. Hook it up.
basically there's this like Lonnie watches this thing called Baby John, and they have this song where it's like the kids are basically like calling their parents out for eating sweets. They're like, what, eating cookies, and the parents like, no dear, and they're like, open your mouth, like open your mouth, and the father's like like joking, but it's really like, punk kid, like, shit, I was trying to have some donuts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's also wild.
I would just be like, go to your room.
Straight up.
You can't send kids to their... Sorry, go ahead, Jaws.
Well, you can't.
I remember a comedian said like his dad would just send everybody to bed. Him and his brother, they would get ice cream, but he would purposely kind of whip the ice cream a little bit, make it melt a little bit so you can get a little bit extra ice cream on the side. And then he's like, his brother was like the scientist. You look at his bowl, look at his brother's bowl, look at his bowl, look back at his brother's bowl. He's like, Daddy, you gave him more than me. Everybody get into bed. I don't care.
Go to bed.
I ain't dealing with this. Everybody get into bed.
Provided that they go to bed, because you literally have like a small window before it's like tired to the point of they'll sleep. No, I'm not sleeping. And that's the difference of like 7 minutes. Where you have tired on the cusp of they'll listen to you, you'll be like, okay, time to bed. And they'll be like, okay, no whining, no crying. They'll just lie down, listen to their songs. Don't judge me. My daughter's sleep song was Aqua Dr. Jones, and it currently is. But it also has digivolved to Popping My Collar by 3-6 Mafia. That's okay. It's okay. It's weird that she says working these hoes, but as long as
I don't even know what she's saying.
as long as their daycare teacher isn't like, she doesn't go and tell Amber, hey, you know, I listen to Popping My Collar with Daddy, because she's getting
Popping My Collar.
Lonnie's getting good. Like, she's like, the Project Pat will start rapping. She's like, I don't know these words. And then this day in the car, she's like, you know, I'm sicker than sicker. I'm like, no. So once it gets to that point, yeah, but you have a small window before they go to bed. And, yeah. So if that father was like, hey, go to bed, and everybody went to bed, pray to him, man. Props on him. He probably
that was his punishment. It wasn't everyone actually going to bed. He just said that was his punishment when you didn't want to deal with it.
If they went, they went. That's good. I wish I could do that. Yeah, I didn't want this. Go to bed. Just go lie down. What?
In a world where your kids actually listen to you.
I got it.
Well, I mean, it's if they don't listen to, then smack.
Yo,
You know,
listen,
that was back
sure.
then.
Guys,
That's how
I
old
tell
the
you,
joke is.
like, it's like they tell them that we can't do that at
Yeah. They learned that in
They
the
know.
now.
They know from top. Like, everything's an empty threat. What are you gonna do? Not feed me? Stop it. Get out of here.
Well, I remember.
Well, that's what I was saying when Dave said, "Oh, send them to their room. Send them to the room to do what? Play with their toys, play on their Nintendo, their TV, play with their Barbies. Like sending a kid
I
to
always
the
thought it
room
was
is
a
the
weird
most
punishment. Go to your room. Why? So I could have fun.
yeah.
I'm-
You know what?
I got
You know what's a
books in
true
here.
punishment for a child? Telling the child, "Come sit here and watch Nova on a Sunday night." That's a punishment.
Or
If you
60 minutes.
Yeah, if
Yo.
you had told me
60
as a
minutes. Oh my god.
if you had told me as a child I have to watch Nova or 60 Minutes or any type of talking head news when I was a child, that would have easily been the most painful thing.
Come here, boy. Watch
my life.
2020.
Yes, yes.
No.
All of that. As
You
a child, that
downs.
was death. You're sitting there watching the TV, watching some show, laughing your ass off. The show ends. Tonight you're like, no, you immediately get up and run away.
You'd see that little like clock that would
Yes.
start, and you're like, no.
Listen, that's when I started to not understand half-an-hour television, because the critic would come on at 9:30 and then it'd start. And I'd be like, oh, nice. And then at 9:35, there's a commercial. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I'm like, hold on. This don't make no sense.
You're like, what's happening?
You just started. Why is there 2 back-to-back commercial breaks and only one joke was told? No. Dateline comes on, no breaks.
Oh my god. All right. Well, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about today. I don't know if everyone's been checking out all these shows. Speaking of all these hoes, I gotta ask, did everyone watch X-Men?
Hell yeah, B.
Of
Come on.
course, why not?
6 a.m. dog.
Yeah, same. I watched
What
it first thing when I woke up.
Yeah.
Now I have to ask you guys. This is gonna seem a little controversial.
I think they're watching me because I just got that game working this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw you playing
saw
it.
that.
Watching.
I thought of you immediately because I know you were playing it.
I thought of me. I was like, wait, am I? What?
I was like, oh, this was Skinny was watching. Okay, never mind.
The show
I ain't playing nothing.
I have to ask you guys.
Yeah, man.
Now, Skinny,
Yeah, boy.
I feel like we talked about this a little bit on the pod last week.
Oh boy.
When we discussed that they might be moving at a little too fast. And then you get this episode and you're just like, y'all crammed all of that story into one episode, the Inferno and the virus, the techno virus, all that one episode.
Yeah.
Then you cram the Mojo World content into half an episode.
But that wasn't worthy of a full episode.
Yeah, but that was gonna be worth. Yeah, I was about to say.
I was just going to say, I agree, not worthy of a full episode.
Yeah.
But here's my thought. Why wouldn't you spread Inferno over an episode and a half and then give us the life death at the end of that second half, and move Motendo somewhere else, because I have to say, starting that episode off, I was so annoyed because I was just like, "What is this crap? I don't want this half episode."
Because you needed a cooler.
Yeah.
No, you don't need a cooler.
You had three episodes.
I do not agree with this.
Constant. Just let me finish.
I know.
Constant
I'm already
fire.
saying I don't agree, but go ahead.
No, you had 3 episodes of. You can't be at 100 miles an hour the entire time. So you
but you
gave
should
this.
slow to 40. Okay.
No, of course, but I will say this though, that I guess at 15 minutes or so, that 15 minutes was the best Jubilee episode in all of the X-Men series.
Yeah, of course it was.
And it was the best adaptation of, because personally, when I watched the original series, there's only 2 types of episodes that annoyed me: the Jubilee episodes and the Mojo episodes. I liked the first one. The first one was okay, but then I was like, it got stale fast.
I don't remember
you doing this. There's a. I know there's 2 because I remember there's the initial abduction, and then I think there's one specifically because there's one where
she meets Loki, where she meets a long shot.
Yeah, exactly. And I was really surprised because I thought Spiral was no longer with Mojo, but that's a whole other conversation.
They're gonna do that.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I was like, you took 2 concepts of things I don't like.
Yeah.
You made it a good Jubilee episode. You show that she'll finally get good powers. At least now she's realizing she has abilities that are beyond just sparkles.
Yeah. The blade thing that her and future her were doing, dope.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Her episode was good. I don't want it at the beginning of a story. It didn't feel like it was the right place for it, because it really did feel like you were saying, you can't go 100 the whole time. Fine. But don't scroll me to a halt with 40. Like, I felt like if I had gotten an episode of it and a half of Inferno and then got the pivot where I slowed down with Life Death, which felt like a more natural, and then Life Death has a cliffhanger, and then I get Motendo and something else, and then I get Life Death 2, that feels flow-wise to me better. I haven't seen what's going to happen after Life Death 1. I don't know what the next episode is or how it starts. I know what an episode title is, but I don't know how it starts off. But it's just flow-wise, that felt so abrupt to me to jump from like what we had to, hey, it's Jubilee's 18th birthday. Sugar, have a good day. She goes upstairs, sits on a bed. Next thing you know, we're in Mojo, and it's a 15-minute like what's the Adult Swim episode? Like, it was just so short.
Well, I find one thing that they should have done instead of like making it officially half one episode, half the other.
Yeah,
they should have just called it Motendo / Life Death.
And
I would have just mixed it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I would have actually started with Life Death.
Yes.
And I would have ended with Life Death.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That's how I would have done that.
Dave,
but that's
you just hit the home run. If you had done that, I would have enjoyed that episode way more. I really felt that giving me this condensed 15-minute one Jubilee and Sunspot story that I kind of it was good. And agreed, you get to see her power set for the future. You get a whole bunch of information about her evolution as a character. You understand she's 18 now. Cool story. But yeah, I agree with you. Splice that up, man. Put it throughout, pepper it in. Get like you do a normal episode. You have an A story and a B story. Why did you guys decide to do a B story as the first half of the episode and the A story as the second half of the episode? Skinny.
I'll argue that neither were good enough to split up that the scenes that they would split them into would be not coherent, but just literally good enough. Like Jubilee, there's no really way to split Jubilees where it would be like, oh, this is something that's going to keep me hanging, and then going into Storm and Forge eating chili. Like, legit, real talk.
That's fair.
Like, the life death story, like the comic life death, is actually quite boring. And the art isn't Silvestri. It's some other dude who normally does New Mutants, who was wild artistic, and then he decided to work on this, and it was just super boring. Like, just like, hey, Storm, come with me. I'll take care of you. Storm's reluctant. He's like, let me show you these horses. Let me show you nature. Hey, I'm supposed to be a shaman, but I decided to do technology. Fuck that shaman shit. La, la, la. And then the fucking...
And hold on. We gotta write that down. Fuck that shaman shit. I'm gonna do technology.
That's legit what the dude does. Forge's whole upbringing from his ancestors / his pops was like, listen, you're a shaman. You're gonna do this. Your whole existence, your whole being, your point is to take care of the adversary. You got to do that. Forge is like, nah, gonna go to Nam instead.
And the adversary is the owl we see, or the like owl monster we see at the end of Life Death. Okay,
right.
Cool.
So that's an actual character. I thought for the longest time, I was like, oh, is that gonna be Shadow King?
I
said Shadow King like 4 times to myself. Like Shadow King, Shadow King.
Yeah. I was convinced that they were giving us a version of Shadow King. But it felt like, because especially the way they were depicting the character has in the past and in the comic book come across as Shadow King. Mm-hmm. So it was very, very Shadow King.
Feeds off fear and all this good stuff. But no, really, it's the adversary and you know, Forge.
And the adversary, for us who don't know, is a
adversary is literally like an old Cheyenne or I'm not going to insult Forge's native tribe, but where it's like their chaos god, and he's essentially not a good thing to be around. He literally just feeds off chaos, wants to rule the world. End to end, what ends up happening is that 8 X-Men and Madelyne Pryor end up sacrificing their lives on live television. And through a spell that Forge does to seal this guy away. And then a goddess named Roma shows up and says, appreciate what y'all did. I totally dig the whole giving up your life thing, except for we need this nigga for the whole balance of the universe thing. So here's what I can do for you. We can keep him trapped. You all can go back to your lives to exactly where you met this guy and nothing happened and nobody saw you die and everything's good. Or I can have y'all show up somewhere completely different. Everybody still thinks you're dead. And just as an added bonus, you can't be detected by any kind of electrical radar systems. So yeah. Havoc, and then they decide to do that. Havoc is like, you know what? Let's start taking names and kicking ass. And they're like, yeah, I'll quit. And then Outback X-Men. That's what happened.
So he wanted to...
That's a lot.
That is one of the wildest, most ridiculous decisions as a team they could have ever made.
They're like, we could be alive or we could just die in front of all the people we love. That's why the first 5 X-Men, X Factor, they see them die and they think they're dead. And that's why when they reunite in Inferno, it's a big like, oh snap, you niggas are alive except for
so Cyclops thought his brother was dead that whole time.
Everybody was
dead. And this was Havoc's idea that, like, you know what, I have a family, but we're good.
They all agreed, but
that's Summer's gene.
They were all agreed, but that was Havoc's like main point. He's like, listen, we've been taking hits like mad people. Literally, they went through Mutant Massacre, they went through Folie. They've been taking hits. So they're like, we've been taking hits. Let's go underground and go on the offense. And they were like, yeah, Wolverine's like, I'm down. Psylocke's new. Colossus like, listen, I can't turn into a human.
Wolverine was on the team at the time?
It was Wolverine, Psylocke, Storm, Rogue, Dazzler, Longshot. Who am I forgetting? Dazzler, Longshot, Colossus, and there's 8 of them. So I'm missing.
You said Havoc.
Okay, yeah, Havoc.
Yeah,
I didn't say Havoc. So yeah,
but,
Colossus. And
then, they can't do that now
because it's a crazy team.
Because that would mess up the order of things, right?
Exactly. This is why I was complaining last week.
Yeah,
because you need to do everything in order for this shit to make sense. Because it was at that point when the mutants died that X Factor, the original 5, at the time they were posing as like mutant exterminators, but actually they saved mutants. At that point when the other X-Men died, Cyclops and them were like, nah, fuck this. We're the main team now. We're the gang. So like Archangel was Archangel, Beast turned into Blue Beast, Jim Lee started drawing, and they started looking gangster. Yeah, it was dope. They were hardcore, but I don't know how they're gonna do this now, boy.
I mean, we already know, again, Bo is a fan. So, at the end of the episode, when I saw written by Bo, I had a moment of just like, Bo, this is the only time I think I'm going to say you slipped up. But ultimately, again, though, I can't even say that full-heartedly because the episode is good. I just don't like the flow. I genuinely felt like you kind of stopped dead from a really high energy. And I really felt that Jubilee episode felt like I watched people doing the work in the week, and this was their weekend, like This was like
Weekend OT.
yeah, this is like
Oh, we got to get this episode out.
This is blue and gold team.
We got to get this episode out. Goddamn.
that was the vibe for me for a sec when I was watching that. I like this morning when I'm watching it, you know, first thing in the morning, I wake up, I looked at my phone and then watched the episode because I was like, this is the only chance I'm going to have to watch this episode.
Mhm.
And I watched it, like I had some water, used the washroom, come to bed, turn it on, watching it. And I'm just like, this shit ain't waking me up. Like I was mad. I was like, this is what I'm waking up to. Like,
but again, it could also be the concept that like maybe they're bringing it down a notch because like again, you can't stay at that type of level the whole
Agreed.
time because then imagine there are bangers every single episode and then you're committed for 2 other seasons. You got to keep that for 2 other seasons or else you're gonna like fall off. Like
Yeah,
you know,
They
like,
haven't even gotten into Magneto ripping off Wolverine's adamantium yet. Like they got
that's-
stories.
I don't think they're going to do that on the
that's
show
later.
They will never. If they get to
They're
like
not
season
gonna do
4, they might. But
Yeah,
listen,
like
this
that-
might be their cash cow. They might push it. If they're flying through the 80s stories by episode form, 9, you know what I mean? Like if they did
Yeah,
Inferno,
yeah.
that's super long in
Yeah.
a half-an-hour episode, and we're coming up to follow the mutants with life death, which is and life
Yo.
death. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. What's the season finale's episode called? It's called Extinction. Tolerance is Extinction, which to
3
me,
episode thing too, right? It's like
Which
a
to
90.
me
It's gonna be like a movie almost.
yeah, and it sounds exactly like Extinction Agenda.
Yeah,
Google it if you guys want to know. Extinction Agenda is some crazy shit, but
Yeah.
I'm really full. Like those 3 parts. Here's what they're gonna do. First part is gonna be actually Mutant Massacre. Gambit's gonna turn on the team. They
Yeah.
got numbers. Like numbers are dwindling. Cyclops and Jean are at the UN. You know something's gonna happen where they're gonna be there for a minute.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler comes in. They've already showed Colossus, so he might have to come back. They might have to call up some people because shit might get real.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they already because in this, I don't know if you guys have been noticing, but they've been slightly tweaking the intro every time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And in this one, the
The
tweak.
imagery,
So
yeah.
the last 2 times they've kept the Cyclops like looking at the Phoenix. So there's always the suggestion that there's going to be some form of that coming back. But this time it was you saw Forge with X Factor for
Yes, you
this
did.
split second. So I was
Yeah.
there. I'm like,
And they
like,
showed
I
they
wanna
showed the team on his wall in that picture. Like they panned over that slowly so that you really got to see the team on the wall behind him when
They
he was
might have done it so that like okay, there was an X Factor before, but there was a government liaison team through
Yeah.
Val Cooper. So what they may have done is that X Factor existed prior, like the X Factor that we know from 90s. They broke up because Ford left the government or
Right.
whatever. Another X Factor may get formed later on, but for now, we don't know where Havoc, Strong Guy, Polaris, all those people are, and those people play a big part in whatever sagas come next. So we
and
shall see.
homeboy's multiple man too, right?
Yeah, Multiple Man is eventually the leader, but like that's not in the 80s or even in the 90s. He becomes leader like
No, but
2000.
I mean multiple man is on the team because he was
Oh yeah,
yeah,
he was
yeah,
president.
yeah.
He was
that's all.
president.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Mad
that's
Ross.
all.
Yeah, he's supposed to be at Muir Island right now. So if they find a way to refix this and do this all up, Extinction or is Existence or what a tolerance is Extinction, I really feel like it's going to be Mutant Massacre first. Then they're going to do Extinction Agenda with Simon Podge or Calvin. Is it Calvin Hodge? One of the Hodges, I believe, who basically goes from human to turning himself half cyborg. He actually takes over Genosha. Boom. That's how I know they're going to do that. Because this guy takes over Genosha and turns it into like a total slave camp. And then finally, the third part is probably going to be the ending of Life Death, where Adversary is like, hey, y'all, while you were doing that, I was trying to kill everybody. So what you going to do about me?
Lord have mercy.
Yeah, they're going to get hit hard, bro. Hit hard.
I mean, I'm excited for all the stories that they can do.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Mhm.
I mean, like we've been saying, we are big fans. We are expecting them to do some dope with this. I don't know why I just didn't love this one as much as I expected to. I'm adding this to the stage for us
It's okay.
I truly think it's because of
because we
I
were just
think-
talking about it.
the only thing I would say that is the downfall of this episode, and this is my personal take. I'm not disregarding any of what you guys are saying. I just think they should have done it like a la how they always do. They should have just cut up this. They shouldn't have made. Yes, put it half, but just because I know why they said the half because they're trying to make Jubilee not a B character.
Right.
That's always been the problem with Jubilee, right? Like and even in the comic books, she's always like a B, right? You're
Yeah.
trying to make her not a B. But if
Yeah.
you wanted to do that, you should have done that vis-a-vis mixing up the episodes,
Yeah,
mixing up the stories. I should say.
the flow.
You-
Yeah.
You think they're gonna do Roberto and those guys join Generation X instead of the New Mutants?
Cannonball and stuff.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I don't see Jubilee joining New Mutants,
Well, this
and
is
I don't. You know what I mean? So it's like
this
you're
is
gonna make
Jubilee
a secondary team. They kind
This
of
is
have to.
Jubilee and Longshot fighting
Mojo.
Mojo, right? Is his name?
Yeah, that's Mojo.
Yeah. So already Longshot's on in the episode, and is this a flashback to the last time?
I think that's what it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Notice with these flashbacks, they're showing these characters. So like, if they show Longshot, I mean, just bring them on, call them.
I mean, I feel like this is a nod to what you were saying, Skinny. Like when you're saying Morph hasn't seen these characters, where did he see these characters and how did he see these characters? I feel like these intros are almost a way for them to sneak in moments that have happened in the past from a different perspective. Where it's just like, oh, you saw this episode, but this was also happening in this episode in a way that you never noticed before. Because did we see this exact moment?
No, but kind of like no, but they're just they're animating it better.
Yeah,
so on.
It was a very similar moment back in the original,
right?
The original back in the day.
Oh man, X Factor looks good too. Wow, like, they took the time to draw them just to not show them. That's some bullshit, huh?
Because all these were memory, like they're memory clips, right?
Yeah.
Like if you want to see this,
one thing I like.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was gonna say I like how with the Bishop part, that's like the way.
Yeah, the
like
spinning.
that definitely happened in the comic, and then I'm not the comic, but the cartoon.
Yeah.
And here's where. What was it? Bobby was trying to like, yo, come back with us, Polaris. Blah,
And
blah, blah.
Havoc
Oh my
gets
god,
hurt.
Havoc. And
She's
she's
like,
just,
Havoc.
yeah, she's just with her new man, and he's like, okay, well,
I got
the
that point.
relationship's done.
Yeah, that's over. Oh well. Which is exactly what went down in the comics. They worked together for a brief stint. Havoc just needs to. He's Mr. Steal Your Girl. I swear to God.
How many girls does he steal?
What do you mean? He stole Polaris. He steals a Madelyne prior by not steal. He basically
That's
like,
oh,
fucked
up.
What my brother don't want you? I'll take you, Madelyne. I love you. And she's like, all right, nigga, fine, whatever.
I'll take Cyclops version 2.0. Why not?
Yeah, right. Last thing I'll say before our bouts is darn, I cannot remember quite. I had it fully articulated before, and I can't quite get it. But all to say, this episode was a good little breather. I liked it. I like what they're about to do if they end up doing it that way. I like how they're trying to give Jubilee more of a thing to do, if that's anything to me, if that makes sense.
But
upping the powers, man, you need to do that for. You have to do it with all the characters. It's important
because Jubilee originally on the original show was supposed to be the avatar for the kids, right?
Yeah.
The avatar, yeah, the viewer that doesn't know anything about X-Men.
We are connecting to the story through. Even in the comic books, when they did Amalgam Comics, for example, and they crossed over DC with not X-Men, but
Marvel.
with Marvel, they did the major comic crossover was Jubilee and Robin. And Robin was added because they needed kids to have a way into Batman.
Wow.
Like you as a child were supposed to feel like you were Robin, you were Batman's sidekick, you were looking up to Batman as he did stuff.
Same with Bucky.
But did she ever actually get with Sunspot?
No, never. That's not.
I didn't like that. That's the one I'll say that I didn't like about the episode.
I mean, you need to do something.
You've been doing that. You've been suggesting it, but like, no.
Yeah, why not?
Wait, but who does she date in the? She does date someone, doesn't she?
No, she just has a kid randomly that ends up being turned into a dragon. Nobody.
Really?
Just has a baby.
No one.
She just has a baby. Legit.
She chills with Wolverine, but other than that, like Wolverine's like, okay.
She had an immaculate birth, and no one is talking, and then turned into a vampire, and that's.
She turned into a vampire first, had the baby. Dude was like, "Nah, that's my baby." She's like, "No, Shogo's mine. Shogo can turn into a dragon." Shogo's like, "I'm staying with her." Yeah.
She had an immaculate conception. Yo,
I don't think she ever gave birth to the baby. Like that's just her baby. Like she just took the baby. I'll just tease it. Took her baby. Last fun fact, because I do remember now. If you run back the intro, notice how Jean has her ponytail back.
Yeah.
So that will tell you that season 4 Jean was not Jean at all.
Yeah. So a lot of people are saying I've seen a few theory videos. Screen crush.
Of course, that guy.
Because I was saying I said Screen Rant last week. By the way, apologies to anyone who watched that and I made the mistake. But Screen Crush, Homeboy was saying him and another video that I watched were both saying that it happened during the wedding, because
Yeah.
something happens during the wedding,
They
and
get
then
captured.
and then
Yeah.
she disappears, and then all of a sudden, and that would also kind of make sense as to why this version always thought her hair was supposed to be down, because she just doesn't know she's supposed to have her hair up.
But I saw
She just
a
always had her hair-
I saw a version that I liked where they said Sinister did this because Sinister at the end of season 4, I think, he was stealing all the psychics for Apocalypse, right?
Yep.
Right.
So
I think
That was
he's
supposed to be the season finale or series finale.
so he was they suggested that it was then while he steals her,
Right.
he makes the clone and he gives Apocalypse the clone.
Oh,
And then he keeps Jean. And I'm like, that is
That's a good theory.
that is the best theory in the sense of like it would make sense with how everything it even makes sense based off of like where the memories stop and begin for Jean when she's like, I can't remember and this and that. So makes sense.
I'm not
That's-
mad
that's
at
my
that theory.
That's a theory I like. Out of the ones I've seen so far, I'm like, that's the one that I'm like, I'll take. I'm using that as the way to the solace for my brain.
Do you
I'm
think
done
they'll
doing
ever,
the puzzle.
do you think they'll ever actually show us exactly when the swap happened?
If they get season 3, yeah. They don't have time for that shit.
only if story require. Basically, only if Madelyne Pryor comes back and they do a actual story arc to like uncover her stuff. But
Last thing, sorry. All the Phoenix
I
they
like
keep
to see-
showing,
I like
all
to
the
see
Phoenix they
Vincent
keep showing.
last name, but-
Rachel makes a big appearance in this era. If they don't show Rachel,
Yeah.
they got to show Rachel, which is the actual legitimate child of Jean and Scott in the future. See,
Right.
Cable is Madelyne Scott.
Yeah.
Rachel is Jean and Scott. So she's
Right.
like legit. Jean and her have this whole awkward, like, listen, girl, you're not my kid. Like, this is weird. You're from the future. You have the same power as me. You can hold in the Phoenix. Relax. Like, but
Jean and her have a weird relationship. Oh,
they
because
had a good relationship, and then like Jean was just like, nah. And then it was just really weird. Rachel hates her dad. Jean and her like whatever, and then finally like
do they ever explain what happened to Rachel? Like what her time? Because isn't Rachel who's
She was a hound. She was a hound, so she was used to hunt other mutants
right?
by Ahab.
Right. That's
Ahab.
what I remember.
Yeah.
And then who is Hope's parents?
Hope's parents are technically just Cable.
Because
Who gave birth to her? She's just a spontaneous birth baby, like Shogo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like someone delivered Hope, and Cable's the one that raises her.
Yeah.
Okay,
Like
cool.
she was just a spontaneous birth, and I think the mom died during birth.
Yeah,
whatever.
she's
and
like
then,
a spontaneous mutation. The way all of them were spontaneous mutations. Cool. Okay.
You're saying even in the future we haven't solved like women's death when they give birth? Like, geez.
oh, Disney went all the way that far.
Or is it just that perilous in the future where it's just like, oh, you gotta it's like you gotta have a birth like in a quiet place. Can't say anything because the sentinels are because Nimrod's running around
That'd
killing
be
us.
so
A Quiet Place was such a wild, unfortunate. Like having to,
But you know what I mean, right? Like,
yeah.
you
They
can't
like trying putting a baby in a box with an oxygen tank. Like that is some depressing you have to do. I still look forward to the new movie though. I'm excited.
that was the most odd input. Like it's hush.
Yeah, well, hey, we're talking about A Quiet Place. You get quiet. That's what it. Honestly, if you, I saw A Quiet Place in a theater in Toronto, and no, you didn't have to be that quiet in the theater because it's not like if we made noise, the monsters were gonna hear. But the whole theater, people weren't even opening cans. Like you just saw people like just watching the movie.
That could be a gateway. Fuck that.
It was so funny. It was so funny. Like people
were
were
the world happening to you live.
Listen, if the world and mind of Wes Craven can come to film, and that's something that people think of, I'm not putting anything past these niggas. Everybody crazy.
All right. Skinny, as always, I know you have to head out. But this is thank you for the X-Men insight because I really do appreciate how much you know about the X-Men stuff because I generally do not know anywhere near as much. So
my time has come finally.
Yeah. This is when it's a vibe to actually feel like you know everything that's happening next, which is a lot of fun. So
I remember like some of the stuff I know is just through like cards, and I'm trying to piece stuff together.
Right.
Like, who's Hope? Wait,
Yeah,
Rachel?
who's Rachel?
Oh,
Who's
no,
Goku's
Cable's
Cable?
the son. What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
So what I did, Wendell, was I lived exactly like you. Then I got the internet, and a lot of 3 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock in the mornings happened with Wikipedia.
Nah.
Just
As soon,
that,
I remember
that.
my one of my best friends. He used to read all the comics, all the X-Men stuff. His thing was specifically X-Men and X Factor. And as soon as he showed me the Summers family tree, I was like, nah, peace out. I ain't doing
Oh
that.
yeah,
And I'm like, nope.
the
Hard
Summers family
hard
tree
out.
must be a
X-Men,
mess.
X-Men, what? Get out of here. I'm done.
Lovely.
It's too complicated.
Too much, Jerry. It's too much.
I'm actually gonna pull up the family tree because now that you've mentioned that,
Ridiculous.
I remember. And the best part is the article, the image is on a website. On the website is called Untangling the
Exactly.
Untangling the family tree, which is such a crazy
Like,
thing.
no.
Like, why would we have to untangle it?
Because it's
'Cause
a
it's
web.
ridiculous.
It's the
You heard exactly what Skinny said.
I can't even think of a more convoluted, well, not convoluted, but more like complex family tree in any form of literature.
In this
Yeah.
timeline, this is their kid. But in this other timeline where
Yeah.
Apocalypse wins, that's their kid. But then he comes back and then
Let's put it the way, the easiest ones to differentiate are Rachel and Cable, and it's because the easy version of it is because Cyclops had sex with his wife and then a clone of his wife. Like that's the easiest one to remember. Like
Okay,
Wow.
so Deborah Summers and Philip Summers give birth to the Christopher Summers, aka Corsair, who is the space pirate dad of Havoc and Scott, and Vulcan, who was part of that secret group that we learned about that Skinny explained was this like middle group that got sent to try and save some people, but ultimately got erased, it seems. Cyclops, and then you have John Gray and Ellen Gray who have Jean Grey. Cyclops and Jean Grey are have Cable, but sorry, Cyclops and Jean Grey have. Where's Rachel? Rachel's here. So Rachel is under Family in the Future and Family Across Realities.
There you go. You see what I mean? You see exactly what I mean.
So and then you have the Red Connection, which is family by cloning. Say what?
What does red? What's the red line mean? What's the red connection?
Yeah, that's what I was explaining.
Oh, sorry.
So Red is family by cloning. So Nate Gray, who I imagine is a clone of Cable?
Yes.
Right. But then you also have Nathaniel Summers Strife and Nathaniel Summers Cable.
Yes.
No, Nate is supposed to be a clone
song
from Jean and Cyclops.
Sorry.
X-Man is a clone from Jean and Cyclops. They take Jean and Cyclops' DNA and then they make X-Man in Age of Apocalypse.
He's made fully. He's not even.
I believe so.
And then I think Strife is a clone
Strife is a clone of Cable. Okay.
He's a clone of Cable, and I don't think he has the the virus.
No,
or
he
something.
does not.
No, he doesn't have this, which makes him significantly more powerful than Cable, which is part of the story, right?
Yeah. As part of Executioner's song, if I remember right.
And then I gotta ask you guys, and so Jean, so here on this thing it says White Queen Emma Frost, and is it supposed to be that Cyclops? Do Emma Frost and Cyclops have a kid?
Straight up, Cyclops, like you keep it in the pants.
So what happens is Jean finally dies.
Yes, yeah.
He finally dies, and then it seemed like what was going on was Emma Frost and Scott were having an affair telepathically and stuff like that. So when Jean dies, he's finally like, okay, I could be out in the open with Emma.
Right.
And there's a scene with Wolverine standing over he's standing over the bed. Scott's asleep with Emma Frost in his bed, and then Wolverine's over his bed, in his face, and saying like, wow. No, he's at the foot of the bed. And he's like, wow, the grieving process is pretty quick with you, huh, Scott? And he's like, get the hell out of my room. He's like, nah, man, you're being disrespectful to Jean's memory. And he's like, well, if you're not gonna get out of the room, I'm gonna make you get out of the room. Cut next panel. Wolverine's getting optic blasted out of the room
Yeah.
onto the lawn.
So, because I've never heard of Ruby Summers in my life.
I
But-
haven't either, but if they did have a kid, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't.
The
put it
ones
past
I'm
them.
not. How is Franklin Richards involved with Rachel Gray?
Because
Oh no, so Rachel Gray and Franklin Richards have Hyperion together. Sorry.
or Hyperstorm,
Hyperstorm.
Jonathan Richards, which I'm understanding is either they had a kid together or they cloned, because again,
No, that one is said by blood based off of your diagram here. So
No,
that
no.
means they
Yeah,
had the sexes.
no, so
The segs.
oh yeah, you're right. The line is black, but family
Yeah.
by blood. Yeah, good point. Yeah.
I don't understand how Adam.
Who's Adam
is
X? Yeah,
he's extreme. If I'm not mistaken, he's
Yeah,
the
he's
guy
extreme.
who boils blood. Is he the guy who boils blood?
I can't remember what I remember what he looks like. He looks ridiculous. He looks hella 90s thrash metal.
Yeah.
Braids coming down, like blades coming out of his shoulders, kind of nonsense. He looks really silly.
All right. Well, guys,
See, even with the diagram, it's complicated.
even
told you.
honestly,
I
no,
told you. I didn't lie.
I believe you. I think the thing that my favorite is you have a description. So black is by blood, purple is by adoption, blue is family in the future, red is family by cloning. I don't know why you wouldn't use red for blood, because that just makes sense to me in my head.
But then the whole thing would be red, and that's
Yeah.
just weird.
I'm down. It makes more using black for blood and red for cloning confused me, because I thought. But anyways,
well, it makes sense because the two red ones are technically bad guys. No, like Goblin becomes a bad guy for a bit, and Strife is a straight up arc bad guy.
So family by cloning is Madelyne Pryor and Nathaniel Summers, who are full on just clones of other characters.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so funny though that in the X-Men universe, a clone has a baby that they cloned. So Strife has the worst DNA. Strife is I don't understand how he's so powerful, because if you make a copy of a copy off of a copy, to me, back in those days, remember when you used to make a copy and they'd be like, that's just gonna degrade over time, son.
Well, hey man, Mr. Sinister made it work. He's perfected it, and he didn't infect it with the virus, so it's just I could use my whole powers. It's just going this way.
Yeah,
it's not gotta contain this.
What powers did Tyler, Nate's son, have? Do you have any? I saw that. Yeah, Genesis.
I don't know who Genesis is. We'd have to look him up.
Well, you saw him briefly. It's funny because the only reason why I even know him is because of the original X-Men animated show. Because you see he's running. It's during the episode where it's one of the first times you see Cable and Apocalypse is destroying the timeline, so everything's going away, and Cable comes to our time because his son disappears in front of him, and that's when he grabs Wolverine and makes Wolverine get sick so that he could get the antibodies to save everybody.
Oh,
that's how he fixes the future.
Yeah, so, he's Cable's reaction was just I'll just go back in time and save my son. He's whatever. Not whatever. He's no, my son, oh my god. And he's okay, go back in time.
I'll read his power set. So Tyler Dayspring, attributes, powers, empathic memory projection. Tyler's mutant power enables him to empathically sense the memories of others. He could then form a psionic link with another consciousness and visually project those memories as a solid hologram in a manner somewhat similar to Mirage. Ability: Genesis was trained in a military tactic, guerrilla warfare, and other combat disciplines. I'm not really sure how his power is beneficial in combat, but
he sounds mid.
Yeah. That sounds mid.
Sorry, I will say, for Summers Gray family tree, he sounds like the black sheep of the family. So
so his you know how they have the power grids, on a scale of till the power grid goes till 10, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean this way. Basically, 90% of the family, 99% of the family is Omega. He's the 1%
but
that isn't.
Do you guys remember if the power grid goes to 10? That's what I'm trying to remember.
It's either 8 or 10.
It goes to 9, I think.
It goes to 9? Okay.
I think it does go to 10, but for the most part, everyone's 9 because everyone goes to 10, and you're just like, oh, that's too much.
Because his intelligence, his strength, his speed, and his durability are all 2s.
So
and
he's normal.
Yeah, I guess
Two is
so.
basically normal.
That's fucking.
And his energy projection and fighting skills are 4. How are you gonna say he was trained in military tactics and guerrilla warfare, but you a 4? Like the disrespect, the disrespect.
So he's
they
a
put on this
soldier.
poor boy's face.
He's above average.
It goes up actually to 7, or the old cards go up to 7.
Oh, okay. So 4 out of 7 is not that bad then. 4 out of 7 is higher than 50%. Okay, so he's hitting a 60.
He's mid.
Yeah, you know what? You know what? You did say it.
Yeah.
You did say from rip. You said he's mid.
There you go. Can't get more mid than that.
Can't get more mid than that. What else do we got, dudes? We got I really want to see this Godzilla. I'm so sad that I didn't. I was gonna maybe try and see it last night.
It's still out. It just came out.
No, I know, but my part. I'm saying you saw it, and I wanted to talk to you about it, but I didn't get to see it. So now I feel like I missed out because I
want me to hold off, or
I mean, if you can give me a week, because I will do my best to see it this weekend, if that's okay.
I'll give you a week.
Do you want to talk more about Dune though? Because you said I saw that you also wrote that you saw Dune. How did you feel about Dune? Because we've talked, like Janessa and I talked about it. You guys weren't here, and we did a segment about it. I don't know if you guys got to see the segment, but
I got to see. I didn't get to see.
Yeah.
I saw part of the segment.
I didn't get to see it. Sorry.
But Dave, have you talked about Dune 2 since that episode?
Nope.
No. Okay.
I don't know if y'all want to hear me on Dune.
This is a perfect.
Then you go first.
No. This is a perfect opportunity to discuss it because now there's 2 of you that have
Oh
seen
yeah, I
it.
remember. Yeah, we did talk about it, Dave, but not on the show.
Yeah, so Dave,
dude, you know what?
Dave,
Dune is Tyler Summers. Dune is Tyler Summers.
He's saying it's mid. He's saying it's mid in a nice way.
I'm just gonna say it.
Go.
Is it better than the first? And so I heard you guys say that you thought it was better than the first. And
no. I said
you said the first was better than the second.
Yes,
I wildly disagree.
In my opinion, the first is better.
Of course. And I'm saying in my opinion, obviously.
Yeah,
I'm not saying like because I'll say this. First of all, I was slightly annoyed because when I watched it, I'm like, I didn't need to watch a 2.5-hour movie before this movie to be able to understand this movie. So that made me a little annoyed. Because I said to because a lot of my friends were like, you're being really critical about this. I'm like, I appreciate the fact that Dune itself is before everything that we know. Like Dune is like a foundation piece.
Yes.
For a lot of our stuff. I appreciate that.
Dune,
I respect
and
that.
what's the other one? 10,000 Valerian.
10,000
Valerian and the 10,000 something.
Oh, I know what you're talking.
Planets or something like that.
Yeah.
The other one that what's his name? Bisset?
Yes,
the French director did.
Yeah, but supposedly those two films and those 2 original comics are like OG
books, literatures, I guess.
No, lyrics. They weren't comics. They were literature.
I think 10,000 was a comic. I don't think.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll say this. I told my friends, I'm like, if I watch this movie and then because of this movie, I appreciate the first, I will take back everything I said about the first. Because the only thing I always said about the first one is I thought, and again, maybe it's because we've also absorbed a lot of content doing this show for like X amount of episodes, how many years, but I didn't like I didn't like the first one only because for me it was too predictable. For me.
Okay, yeah.
But for a lot. When I watch this, I'm like, wait, you're not making me care that much more for the first one. It's not changing. What I will say is this, and sorry for spoilers for anyone else who's watched. I feel like we're past that. Yeah. I was enjoying it, and then when I got to the end, I got super annoyed because I was like, when he's like, "I will love you forever," I'm like, why does he keep? This is the only time I kept on being like, why does he keep saying that?
That was funny. Yeah.
And then he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna marry this bitch." I'm like, "Oh, it's because you're openly telling her that you're gonna dump her ass." And she's not getting it.
I don't think he was dumping her.
I don't think for the better of mankind. He was.
Yeah, I think he was making clear to her, no matter what I say in this moment, like he was making clear, I love you and I will always love you. But and I agree with you. It would have been nice had he said, I have to do something for the better of the universe. But instead he just says, I love you, and immediately turns around and does the thing that will help save the universe, quote unquote, but doesn't explain to the person, hey, I'm marrying the daughter of the emperor to consolidate power so that we can try and have an easier transition in this really tumultuous time.
Because her side, her like
Yeah,
her lip smacking.
Remember again, I always bring it back to Louis C.K.'s show. And in the first season, you clearly kind of see his ex-wife is white. You don't see her face. She's not a character. You just kind of see her skin. And in the second season, she's straight up black. She's straight up the wife in This Is Us.
Yeah.
That's who it's played by.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's like, why did you so your car is the same in both seasons, but you recasted your ex-wife as a black woman? It's like, well, I really needed a woman that could give me a look that just says I'm being a dumbass. I'm being a piece of crap right now.
Yeah.
And just don't say it. So like Zendaya has that face. Chani has that face.
Yeah.
But in the book, Chani is more forgiving of it.
Yes.
She's like, okay, well, I'm your concubine, and like they do their thing, but he has two wives. He has his empress wife and he has his concubine Chani. But in this, what Denis Villeneuve wanted to do was, because he knew when people read the book Dune, they're like, yes, it's a hero story. He had to do that because he's the good guy and he's the blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no, it's a cautionary tale. He knew that in order to get his revenge, the whole thing he's doing is hella selfish because he wants to get revenge for his dad. And he tells Chani that I want, the only thing I care about is revenge right now. But I don't want to go to the South, because if I do, then I'm going to start the whole process of me going on that route.
I've been trying to explain to people, though, I understand, because some people don't seem to get how you can have, and I think I mentioned this, did I mention it last week? Like you can't have a white savior story without having a white savior. The same way you can't tell a time travel story without having time travel. And even if you're commenting on the fact that it's a white savior, you still have a white savior in the story. Even if the white savior is doing it for selfish reasons, from the perspective of the Freeman in the movie, this man with atomic bombs has come to help them fight against their oppressors and has said to them he's going to help empower them. From their perspective, that is a savior.
But also
he does that though.
Yeah. But also on top of that, Paul, he also says, no, I'm not. I'm literally, like, he literally spells it out for him. I am not.
Oh yeah.
I'm not your savior.
Oh, for sure.
It's just lies.
Like,
and you're
Stilgard,
like, oh no. He's so humble.
Exactly. Like Stilgard says, and Stilgard is doing what every other character in all of these stories does when someone is a white savior and says, oh, I'm not, I'm just a humble servant. And these people are just like, oh yes, the savior, too humble to accept the crown of power.
But within this version of the movie, there's a clear divide. And you know
that
which was that good. Follow that.
Yeah, it was
and
good.
Chani's part of the faction that does not believe, like, no, we should be the ones that free ourselves. He can help, but he's not like, what are you doing? And so at the end of
I thought that was good.
In the book, she's like, okay, she's more understanding, and also his mom like helps her understand more. So it's not as like clear, like as drastic as it is, where the mom's like, no, we gotta let's take advantage. So in this new version, which is the Denis Villeneuve version, he wants to like really get across to everybody before you leave the theater that this is a tragedy. Paul is a tragic figure. He's not doing this for the better of anyone except himself. He's thinking about himself solely. And Chani's so pissed at what his decision is that she pieces out. She's like, no, I'm not.
She doesn't
I'm
even
not
go
about
with
this.
Yeah.
She doesn't go with him.
Because she also says that, she also puts that line in the sand in the movie though.
And she also does not bow.
No.
Right, which I thought was great. Yes.
If you pay attention, everyone's bowing and she's still standing. She's like, what the no? And
even what's his name had to pull her down when she stood up.
So that's during the meeting in the South.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about the end, but I'm talking
at the end
because it's multiple times she made the point, and I think Villeneuve did a good job of using her to make the point. I will not bend the knee to you.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great. I do like. See, that's the thing. Again, I like this film. I just didn't like it more than the first one.
And sorry, go on. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you off.
sorry. Jaws is the one that I wanted to let continue because he just said me too. So I wanted you to make.
Yeah, I really liked the visuals, the color, just like I loved how you go to the Harkonnen, Gendy Prime, and they have a black sun.
Yeah.
So anytime you're outside, it's just infrared. It's all weird. It's just,
Did you hear how they filmed that?
It's just grayscale.
Did I send you guys the clip? Did I send you guys the clip of where Denis Villeneuve is explaining how his DP came to him and was like, "Hey, this is my idea for how to do this," and that's how they got those like really intense colors and like or inverted colors and stuff. They used infrared cameras. They had to redo some of the costumes to really get that kind of negative like black sun effect. That's why like when he opens his mouth,
it's all like, black. His teeth are all black.
Yeah. It was really cool. Super cool.
I also like their fireworks. They're all like
the oil, the kind of like explosive oil thing. Yeah.
And I do like how the Bene Gesserit, they're just like, you go get pregnant by that dude. And they're like, wait, Reverend Mother, why didn't you go? And she's like, well, he killed his mom. I'm more of a motherly figure. I'm not getting near that psychopath. Nah. I'll send you to Pretty Woman.
Oh my god.
No. So I think also the other revelation that I don't think that's hinted at in the movie, and it's for you to kind of put the pieces together. Lady Jessica's mom is the Reverend Mother of the Bene Gesserit.
Oh
yeah.
So because Jessica,
wait. Jessica, who is the daughter of the Harkonnens, and is the daughter of the Bene Gesserit.
Is the Bene Gesserit, Reverend Mother.
I did not know. So Peter Atreides' grandparents are both these horrible people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jesus.
So and the reason like it's hinted and it's kind of there, but it's not there. It doesn't tell you outright.
Definitely did not know. Definitely did not.
Because Jessica is telepathically talking with her daughter in her womb, right?
Right.
Bene Gesserit don't really have a telepathic powers, but I guess they're able to talk to their own prodigy. So then all of a sudden at the end, where she's telepathically talking to the other Bene Gesserit person, it's hinting that that's her mom. And and because of the life
get that thing, thank you.
Because of the water of life, or worm piss,
worm piss.
She's able, and she has all the memories of everybody, and she's able to talk to her, kind of thing.
And is that mentioned in the book?
I think so. I was watching I was watching all the memes. Like as soon as I finished watching the movie, because I got in late, I was like, okay, let me get in on all the memes and stuff like that.
That's wild. I didn't know that. Okay, so that's so speaking of family trees, we looked at the Cyclops one, but my God, Paul Atreides' family tree is probably gonna be a damn mess too.
Game of Thrones in space, but before Game of Thrones.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, I'm looking forward to how many movies do you think they're getting? Because some people
how many books do they have?
There's a lot of books.
Yeah, there's a lot. But
I think Denis Villeneuve he really wanted to do Dune as 2 movies, and now he's writing the script for Dune Messiah, and so Dune Messiah is supposed to show
interesting.
Paul's plan. Oh no, he's the bad guy. He's actually the bad guy.
Right. I didn't expect him to do Messiah, because doesn't Messiah just isn't Messiah a companion book to make it clear Paul is bad? Because people supposedly, when the guy Frank Herbert wrote the book, he said some people thought it was ambiguous that Paul was evil, even though as much as I understand Paul is evil, I understand how, again, if you are a Freeman, a specific sect of the Freeman, you see Paul as a savior,
as a hero.
No one else sees Paul as a savior. There's no one
that's
else.
That's why the rest of the houses were like, no, we don't accept you as the emperor. Get the hell out of here.
Yes.
And he's like, start the war.
But oh my God. I find there's not. That's the one thing I found a little weird with Dune itself, is that it doesn't really seem there is good guys. There just seems
That's
to be people
that's
who
the
are
point.
suffering and then those people hurting them.
Well,
That's
Dave,
the-
there's
that's
no
the
good
whole
guys
point.
in Game of Thrones.
And there's no good guys in real life, I guess, either.
Yeah, I mean,
So I remember I was watching something where basically what's his name, Tolkien, J.R.R. Tolkien,
yeah,
doesn't like Dune. He just hates it. Like he hates it outright. And it's like, why don't
because
you
there's
like
no
Dune?
good
He's like,
guys.
huh?
Sorry, I'll let you finish.
Oh, like he doesn't like Dune because he feels the story in it is just so depressing and cynical. Like just like no, all these people have all the power in the world. They're just gonna abuse the crap out of it. The more power they're trying to amass, they're gonna get more jealous. So the whole point of the emperor, he kills Leto, like because he was jealous of him. He was like, oh,
That's
this
so
guy
sad.
is leading with his heart, and everyone likes him.
But it's just, and it's so messed up too because he acknowledges that it's just like, man, he's like a son to me, but I don't like that people like him, so let's murder him.
Yeah.
What the hell, man? Like,
Oh, he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, that was crazy.
One thing though, I will say that I found, you know, that time, Brian, where you're like, I don't like that there's rules in the universe. So if you're in a room, then the piece of paper survives a burning room.
Right, yeah.
One thing that
there are laws of physics and there are laws to the universes you are building, and if you build the laws, you should abide by them. You can't just ignore them. Yes.
So with me saying that, Paul should have died in that last fight. The wounds he obtained in that fight.
Yeah.
He was stabbed. He was impaled twice with blades that could practically go through the other side of his body. He was hit in the abdomen.
Yeah.
And he was hit in the chest. I agree. Not on the heart side, which is debatable because technically they're human-like. They don't necessarily.
No, they're humans. The story is
just
still like
it's
just
10,191.
Yeah.
I feel if I'm stabbed here, where there's plenty of arteries that link to my heart. It's not my heart, but they go to my heart, and then I'm stabbed in the abdomen with a blade that could almost go through
first. Then the arm.
I agree what you're saying. He should have been more injured and had a lot more trouble like getting up or continuing after he won the battle.
I was doing a sprint.
As opposed to like he's just running to the ship to start war. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, did they?
If you really wanted to be, if you really wanted to be realistic, it'll just look really lame. Like, oh, he won, but he looks all
yeah.
But no, because you could have pointed at people and been like, go. But like,
at least if someone had run over to him and done some sciencey, timey-wimey, sciencey thing, because we're in the future. If someone walks, if someone walks over and puts,
that would have taken some time. I think that would have taken some time.
A future
because like when the head of the Harkonnen house, Skarsgård's character, I forgot his name. Anyway, the gross dude.
Yeah.
When he died when he almost died in the first movie, and he had to go in the goop. He had to go into the chemical goop to heal himself.
Yeah.
So and then he had like a floating IV or whatever with him. So he
I just understand. I understand what Dave is saying, though. I understand that.
I get it, but I mean, we gotta move this along. We're wrapping up. We gotta.
Right, Dave,
you want to stay an extra hour so we can see him heal up? Let's move it.
I'm just saying, you don't need him to be healed completely, but at least someone run over and address the fact that homeboy is injured.
Put him in a wheelchair. Like, come on, like something.
Paul Atreides being rolled out on a wheelchair to the ship is the least gangster way to lead a war ever.
Make it like a Professor X style.
That is so funny. Professor X.
No, I enjoyed it. I would like to see it again just to see all the extra stuff I missed while I was watching it.
Yeah.
I thought the fights were really good. I liked that he did that little flip in the end, that little roll flip. I was like, okay. And I was surprised that they panned back again. Remember, whenever you're watching a fight scene, it's good if they pan back, but they've panned back for like maybe 2 parts of the fight. So I think we're very proud of what they got on film in that. And Butler did a good job. Jeez.
Yeah, Butler did.
Everyone was like, this guy scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, Butler.
even his own film mates, even Batista was like, dude was intense, man.
Yeah, he's a
and
little.
I also didn't know how tall Timothy Chalamet was. Like, there's a scene where he's getting the water of life from the woman.
Yeah,
and he just looks tall as shit. And I'm like, what the?
Well, that woman was a little person though.
Oh, I didn't know that. I
Yes.
didn't know she was dwarf or anything like that.
Yeah, that woman is a little person because you see when she's talking to the mom, and then you see when she's talking to him. I was just, oh, you're a little
Yeah,
person.
but they pulled back.
Yes,
They pulled back, and you saw it. But when she was like in the water getting the
right, agreed. Yeah, you
yeah,
can't
she
tell
looked like
at
she looked
first.
proportional, so I didn't know. You know,
Yeah, it was hard to tell based on that. The way they shot it at first, I was just like, oh, this person. Because when she got in the water at first, I was like, okay. And then when she got out and was talking to the mom, I was just like, this actress is not that tall. And I was just like, oh, this woman is a little person. Like, you are just a little smaller than the average person. But yeah. I mean, I like the movie. Again, I still think the first one is better, but that is again a personal opinion.
I would watch both of them. Like if I had a whole day to do nothing, I would just do back to back kind of thing. I need to see the emissary in the first one with the super dark face on the blue and just shot really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw. Yeah,
I would have to watch that 2.5, and you have to give me a good meal or something to make me sit there.
I watched the first one and then watched the second one within an hour. Like I left my house, got to the theater, and the second and like ordered my food in VIP and watched the second one. So for me, it really felt like I did watch them legit back to back, which made for a great experience.
Right. And yeah, I feel like you really definitely should try to watch it in the theater because you need that. You need that whole immersion. You need that all around you kind of thing.
And that might have been the reason why I didn't appreciate the first one as much. Full transparency, because I only watched it at home. Mind you, again, I watched it at home. I have a 60-inch TV, so I tried. Because I will, regardless of like my thoughts, I will always say that it is visually nice. Like I'm not gonna pretend it's not. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not even gonna say it's a bad story. I'm just saying for anyone who's like, why is this guy acting? It's just my side.
Well, everyone's aping Dune basically.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to like people that foresee in the future. Even in Game of Thrones, there's a dude that sees the future. So
yeah. All right, kids, we got that geek news and rumors. We got a bunch of stuff that has been announced. One of them, I feel like we called this. Guys, we called this. Didn't we say they were going to have a woman be Silver Surfer? Didn't we talk about that?
Oh.
And we
didn't want it, but
we said we didn't want it. We said, there's a lot of different characters you could do. There is a version of Silver Surfer, Shalla-Bal, which I think a lot of people were calling that would potentially be the version they would do if they were going to do it, because they expected they would want more women in the story or in the cast. And here we are. This is exactly what people were saying. Shalla-Bal is a fictional character that appears in American comic book publisher Marvel Comics, the immortal empress of Zenla and the lover of Norrin Radd, the Silver Surfer, who becomes the herald of Galactus in exchange for his planet being spared. But yeah, she is. And they even said Shalla-Bal is voiced by Camilla Scott in the animated series Silver Surfer, while Shalla-Bal Silver Surfer will be portrayed by Julia Garner in the live-action MCU film in 2025.
But like, my question is this: so what are you gonna do? Galactus is gonna come, and then just instead of it being Norrin Radd, she's just gonna step in front of him, like, no, take me. Like, how are you? I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm trying to understand it. Because in the comic book, is the version of Shalla-Bal that is a Silver Surfer, are they from an alternate reality?
I'm not sure, but the thing that also weirds me out with some of the images I've seen online, it suggests at one point in time that they're both Silver Surfers. I'm seeing images online where you see both like them together as both silver people.
You're right.
So
yeah, like a whole race or something.
No, it's not. That's the thing. From what I understand, and because I thought that for a second too, but no, I know that Norrin Radd's race is not specifically silver people.
No.
He gets that Silver Surfer power from Galactus as he becomes the Herald to spare his planet. But there does seem to be some sort of story in which she is also granted that same Silver Surfer power, like Herald power, and I can't find the exact moment where, heartbroken that they were forced apart, Galactus convinced Norrin to join him in order to save his planet. She pined for him and bemoaned his loss. She has been she's been cloned, confused, dead, and revived. Yeah, like I couldn't find the part where they explained where she became the Silver Surfer. I am, however, going to look into it because I imagine, much like there are so many, because the MCU is a multiverse.
From
Dave,
what
did you find it?
I found something that where it suggests that she's depicted as joining him and becoming a second Silver Surfer, becoming twin heralds. So, because here's the thing: if they do that,
Wait, what's the source? What's the source?
I'm seeing it on Wikipedia personally, which
Oh,
usually,
really?
yeah.
Okay, I just looked.
So, it's saying in the an alternate continuity on Earth X /
Okay,
Universe X.
that's what I was wondering, because
Which considering everything they're doing with the multiverses, if that's how they want to do it, if they bring in both, because here's the thing, it's not that I'm like, oh no, Silver Surfer has to be a guy. Like, it's just that for me, it's that you have clearly other female heralds. We've mentioned, I forget them by name. Silver Surfer is not or Galactus isn't my favorite guy to read on, but I know there's one herald that's like flame based and stuff like that. You had other options. So for me, it's like,
we had said if you were gonna do one of those ones, there is the Firebird, who is the one I believe you're talking about. The Firebird is the Firebird is a guy, Pyrus Krill. I am trying to find the woman because I know who you're talking about. Let me keep looking.
I know.
Nova. God, that's the fact that I even mentioned it earlier in the episode drives me nuts because I knew her name. Although Reed Richards has prevented Galactus from starving them. Yeah. So Nova is the other one. Frankie Ray offered herself. Yes, Frankie Ray. And she had a relationship with Johnny Storm. Yeah, like why didn't you just do that? Especially with the fact that you have Nova, you have Johnny Storm in the film, you have an easier way to connect it. You don't have
I think you don't want to. I feel like maybe in the MCU they don't want to do too many people with the same powers because it'd just be annoying. You'll like if they're fighting together, they're like, oh, who's who? So like how Kamala doesn't have stretchy arms because Reed Richards is coming up behind the rear and he's gonna be Mr. Fantastic. So I feel like they just don't want to have that obvious visual cues, like just being the same thing.
If anything, it's an advantage to have the obvious visual cues, especially if the character is a love interest of the other character. It almost fits perfectly to have a Fire Flame Nova with a Johnny Storm. It seems
maybe
like
later on. Not right off the bat.
I don't know.
I think people know Silver Surfer more than Nova. Like, see how hard it took us to figure out who it was.
Yeah, but I mean,
Johnny Storm just going through women like crazy. I mean, come on.
But also, once again, you're not even doing the version of Silver Surfer that we know. You're doing an Earth X, Universe X version, a comic book that most people I know have not read. I have Earth X, Universe X, Alex Ross stuff, and I didn't even remember that she's in it. That in of itself is a comment on it. Like, it's not a major story, in my opinion.
I feel like they're just trying to. I would say they're probably trying to like change it up a little bit.
Yeah, but again, this is one of those times where I do find it a little lazy of Marvel to be like, "Hey, we need more women in this. Let's use this alternate version of Silver Surfer that isn't as popular and is far less known, and it is also the twin herald, meaning Norrin Radd should still be in the story."
Yeah.
So hopefully if they're introducing Julia Garner as the Silver Surfer, her version, you're going to introduce Norrin Radd Silver Surfer as well, and we just haven't heard about that casting.
And you could,
then I'm happy,
because you could even do that without even casting anyone, because you could just make them like, hey baby, like I'm going to be this side of the universe, you do that side of the universe, a nod, and just move him.
You just have a moment of them like splitting up and heralding, and you don't even cast him yet because you bring him in later.
Yeah. And fun fact, just because I looked at the list of heralds that he's had, just 2 fun facts. Superman was once one of his heralds, which I found interesting.
Hilarious. Okay.
And then the most obscure one I find, in my personal opinion, although Dazzler is a close second, Sabretooth apparently was once one of his heralds, which is just ridiculous.
So he's just giving out herald cards.
He's handing it out.
He's just like, you get a herald card. You get a
yeah.
All right.
of the
Seriously,
universe.
Hilarious. Dumb Money director Greg Gillespie tapped for Supergirl movie. So that's they have 3 directors now. James Gunn, Gillespie, and Andrew. What's his name? Andrew Muschietti. Andy Muschietti, the guy who's doing The Brave and the Bold.
Okay.
All right, so that's 3 filmmakers. I don't know how I'm feeling about that, but whatever. I gotta say, this guy. So Gillespie directed Disney's Cruella, which I enjoyed. I thought Cruella was very good. He's done I, Tonya, which was very good. I didn't watch Pam and Tommy, but people have said it was fantastic. But unfortunately, his latest project, Dumb Money, is the only weak link from what I'm hearing, because I have not heard good things about Dumb Money. Like most people I've spoken to about that project didn't say anything.
I never even heard of it.
It's
about
basically about
thing.
the Wall Street bets on Reddit
Yeah.
versus the Wall Street what was it called again? The GameStop.
GameStop
stock.
Yeah, that's what.
That's the movie it's about. Seth
Uh,
Rogen's in it. The guy that played the Riddler in the Batman's in it. He's the guy that's doing all the betting and everything.
Oh yeah, now I remember it a little bit. Yeah, Pete Davidson's in it. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Paul Dano. Yes, Paul Dano's in it.
Paul Dano, yeah.
Star Trek 4 beams up new screenwriter, the flight attendant creator, Steve Yoki. I just want to say this to the people at Paramount and to the fans of Star Trek, as I am one of you. Please give up on this project. Chris Pine led Star Trek, the Kelvinverse or whatever it's called at this point, is done. As someone who's watching all the other Star Trek content on Paramount, I don't understand why they want to bring back this Chris Pine movie so bad. Those movies were okay. They
brought back everything else. They renewed interest in Star Trek. They did their job.
Yes, exactly.
They could save the world by playing AC/DC, bro.
No, not AC/DC means sabotage, right? Sabotage.
Whatever it was.
Whichever
it doesn't. Music saved the universe, bro. That's all I know.
At this point,
that's what happens when you get a Star Wars fan to make a Star Trek
universe.
But at this point, you did like Jaws said. Jaws just said it perfectly. You did the job. You reintroduced Star Trek to a generation of people that may not have known it as well, or weren't as connected, or weren't as interested. I have a bunch of friends who said that Star Trek: The Next Generation wasn't for them because it just felt too political and too slow. I, however, love Star Trek: The Next Generation. But guess what? You gave us the Kelvinverse, a lot of action. Benedict Cumberbatch is a Khan. Sorry, like you did all the things. You nodded to the OG fans, but you also gave us a new generation. You did it. It's done. Stop trying to make this one. It feels weird now. Like you have Lower Decks, Discovery, Strange New Worlds. You have all these shows. They're doing well. People like them. Why are you trying?
I guess they feel like, oh well, we need a movie. We need a movie to get into theaters. We need a movie. We need a tangible movie to get, and people remember this. So they always kind of hang back. They always like chilling on stuff that everyone knows. And but you got 3 movies. I honestly like the third one. I feel like a lot of people crap on the third one.
I didn't like the third one, but it's not a horrible film. Like
I like it. They're all actually working as a team together. Like you weren't getting that a lot from the second one. It was very more action. And I felt the third one is like, damn, we have a busted machine. We gotta make it work. Everyone's got to get behind this and that. Let's make I liked that.
And Idris was great in it as the villain.
Yeah, and I feel it's a little bit difficult too because I know didn't Zachary Quinto? He's like, I don't want to play Spock anymore. Like he was like, I'm good.
No clue, but it makes sense. I
remember I think I remember that he was like, this is my last one. I don't want to play Spock anymore. And then what's the name of the guy? Yelkin? He passed away. Yes. So it's just like
the young man
feels weird getting the whole band back together, kind of thing.
Yeah, guys, it's done. Move on. I agree. That honestly,
how is Lower Decks though? I've been tempted to.
Lower Decks is fantastic. If you know Star Trek really well, it has so many Easter eggs in it. And if you don't know Star Trek, it's just a funny show. So I would say check it out. Joker 2 gets R rating for strong violence and brief full nudity. Guys, we're going to be seeing some Joaquin Phoenix helicoptering. Some
he's going to be draying it up.
Some Joker dances.
Draking it up.
Oh yeah, Drake. Oh god.
God.
But yeah. I mean, rated R we knew because the first one was rated R, so I don't really see.
But like,
you can't PG-13 this story.
I don't get I don't get this movie. I don't like on paper. I don't get this movie. You're a rated R
musical
full-fronted nudity musical
with 15 covers. They're doing covers of 15 popular songs.
and you're the Joker, but you're not the Joker, which means she's Harley Quinn, but not Harley Quinn.
That's the thing. I don't think she's gonna be Harley Quinn. I don't think she's gonna be Harleen Quinzel.
Well, no, but she's gonna be the same thing, right? She's gonna be like
Arthur
this
Peck.
This guy's the guy who inspires the Joker. You're gonna be clearly the girl that inspires Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's just like that's where there's a bit of a push. And then like don't get me wrong, I admit Lady Gaga is getting better as an actress.
I think she's a decent actress.
I'll be honest. When I saw was whichever Gucci movie it was.
Oh, the House of Gucci.
I was like smashing my head against the wall watching that movie. I don't.
My
Sorry,
understanding
to
though
my
is
partner
she's
who likes
supposed
that.
to be over the top in that movie. Isn't that part of the character?
Well, I won't.
Yeah,
lie.
it's
That
the
movie,
actual person.
Right,
You actually find videos of the actual person and her.
Yeah, but
anyways, all that to say, yeah, I get what you're saying. I think she's a decent actress. I think her and Joaquin will play well off of each other. I agree with you though. I'm not sure. You know, we're doing Arthur Peck and whoever this character is in a rated R musical that has violence, nudity, and 15 covers in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah,
15 covers in 2 hours.
Because like I want to make it clear. I don't want Joker the spirited version. I don't want that.
I'm expecting, because we're getting 15 covers, I'm expecting the whole film to essentially be his, like, from the perspective of her shattered mind, where everyone is always singing.
Well,
that's what I'm expecting.
Or it's just going to be him or it's going to be literally where it left off, right? Everyone questions whether or not the movie even happened because at the end of the movie, right, he's in the insane asylum.
No, but he got brought into the insane.
No, I know, but like,
who thinks that the movie takes place in his broken mind? Please,
there were spec. I'm not wrong. I don't agree with it, but I had read theories online where like you could be right. I don't think so.
No,
but this movie could be though. This movie could be in his broken mind.
I honestly truly believe this movie is going to be from the perspective of her mind, her broken mind. Because why would his broken mind go from, even if let's say his broken mind in the first movie was the perspective, he then turns around and just has a musical version. His psychosis develops into just singing every 2 seconds. Like, I don't know.
It's basically Legion in the DC universe.
Yes.
Well, because his broken mind could be the concept of like example. The reason why she could be the inspiration for Harley Quinn, she could hypothetically be his doctor, and then he thinks of everything. Like know.
I guess so. I guess we'll see. I'm not excited for the movie. I do not want a musical, but we've said before, this is gonna be the same thing as when I saw Madam Web, and I come back and I tell you guys, I saw Madam Web, and you're like, why did you do this? I'm gonna see Joker 2, and I'm gonna come in here and be like, guys, I saw Joker 2, and you're all gonna say, what are you doing to yourself? And I'm gonna say, I had to see it. So we'll see.
I'm gonna see it because every time, specifically for the character of Joker, I didn't think Heath Ledger was gonna do a good job. I was wrong.
Yeah, that's fair.
I didn't think Joaquin was going to do a good job with the first one,
and he was great.
I was wrong.
Yeah.
So maybe he's the only.
I agree.
Joker is the only, and fittingly so, he's the only one when you see something on paper that this doesn't look like it's going to work, and it's always been kicked out of the park.
Yeah.
So
I just realized we do have to sign off, guys. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Fantastic episode. Always fun to do another one with you guys. Transformers Slag,
the Toy Armada podcast.
And yeah, we'll be back with another one soon. Peace, everybody.
Peace.